What's going on, everyone? It's almost Christmas, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every single weekday, we're coming at you live with the Grinch of Sin City, aka Robin. Show Robin again.
Hey!
What's up, Grinch?
Feliz Nave Crypto. How you doing?
What? What's going on, guys? We're coming at you again from our studio. Today, we're talking, first and foremost, we have a friend of our show. Forrest will be joining us in T-minus 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to talk about charts, the markets, all the fun stuff. We are discussing Sam Bankman-Fried, $250 million bail. He's out. We're also discussing Binance. We're also discussing other things. But before we can discuss all those things, I'd like to introduce you to your other co-host, Grinch Rob. What's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. And also, you know what Santa's delivering early this year?
Corn.
Perhaps it's a Bitcoin rally.
No.
On Christmas Day.
No.
17K?
No.
On the table?
Nope.
You're full of cold, bro.
Yeah.
Humbug, my dude. That's what I tell you. You're just jealous of my hat.
So jealous, bro.
Yeah. Where's your Christmas spirit, man?
It's in my heart.
What, like,
in my heart.
do you have a Christmas tree at home? Do you have any Christmas lights? Or what's going on?
I do have a Christmas tree on, idiot.
Stop. What was that, just like the little cutout that your kid
Ask
had
my
in
wife.
that kindergarten you put on the fridge?
Yeah, the fridge, yeah. Small one.
Well, I got good news for you, David.
What's the good news?
I brought you a Christmas hat. There we go.
You brought me a Christmas.
Yeah. So, without further ado, here you go. Put it on, brother.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah. So, I got to spread the Christmas cheer.
Cool kids on the block.
Oh, man. So,
All right, we're in the Christmas spirit, guys.
you like your hat?
I like the hat, yeah. Cool hat. Thanks, man. Do I get to keep it or I got to return it?
No, yeah, that's all you, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Merry Christmas. That's my Christmas gift to you this year.
Wow.
Yes.
So kind of you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to jump right in. So we're going to start with traditional markets. So the PCE numbers came in today. If you're not familiar, it's the personal consumer expenditure. This is what the Fed looks at as well. It's think of it like another version of the core inflation. So that rose 5.5% year over year, November last year to November this year, which is lower than in October, which saw a 6.1% increase annually. So the Fed looks at all these numbers. Is this enough for the Fed to pivot? No. Look, have we seen the top for inflation? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
You think so?
I think so. I think 9.1 was the top.
Okay.
In which, I was in deep thinking yesterday and analyzing.
Deep thought, you mean?
Deep thinking and analyzing my
We're gonna create Robin's dictionary. Would you guys invest in that?
And he sure would. No, 9.1 came in June. That was the June's inflation, right?
Yeah.
Now that's the top. And so we know that these inflation numbers are year over year. So that 9.1 was in comparison to 1 year, the June before. And so I am in this camp that next June we will be in a negative inflation number. Because of how grossly overinflated the prices were, particularly in the housing and in the car market, which is two of your biggest expenditures when it comes to factoring, your bills. Bill 1, bill 2, at the top of the list for your average American or just anyone is house and car, right?
Yeah.
And the house prices fell by over 20% year over year.
Interest rates
it was like 25%. The home market is slowing down. used car prices went negative. Used car prices went negative last
month.
CPI. Yeah, the last CPI number. And so think about it. If at the height in June of last year, the car prices were crazy high. And so if we're at a negative right now, what do you think the car prices are going to be next June? If right now we're at negative 3% on car prices, and right now car prices are far off from where they were, they're still like pretty high up there. And house prices are going to be negative as well.
What about core?
Well,
of course, cars isn't core, but housing is not.
Yeah.
No, housing isn't core.
I don't know. I forget what's in core now. Now you got me all confused.
I'm confused.
But anyways, I think that's when we start hitting negative. So I think we hit the 2% threshold that the Fed is looking at. I think when they started getting into, was it 7%, which was back in, I think it was March, or no, it was April.
2021?
April, yeah. It was like March or April. We were hitting 7. Remember, because we didn't hit 9.1 right away. It was like 7, whatever. So I think, and we were talking about it yesterday. When is the reversal coming? When are we gonna get out of the federal interest rate hikes? Every single meeting. I think it's in February. I think we hit 2% in February. I think it's a dramatic drop, and then we
hit
flip
2% in February,
and then. No, excuse me. In April. No, May.
Yeah.
May. April, May, somewhere in there. April, May, we hit the 2%.
Very bullish. Very bullish.
Yeah. I think it's simply because you're going
true, that means
year.
they're going to pivot.
Yeah. So I think that the bottom for Bitcoin will come within the next 2 months, if it hasn't come already. I do think I could see January, February. No chart guy here, but I could see January, February hitting a bottom if we didn't already. And then March, April, May, some point in there, Fed reverses course. Now Fed pauses interest rate hikes. Instead of raising anything, they just keep it at baseline 0.
Well, here's the thing.
And then
what they do with their balance
stock markets rally, Bitcoin rallies, tax returns come in, people spending money. And that's my 2023 prediction.
Wow, that's a great prediction. You know what else is a interesting prediction?
What's that?
So, so this is let me read this title to you guys. Point of view: the court allowing Sam to post bail, and we'll get into Sam posting bail. But here's a little parody here.
All right, who do we have first? All right, the first one we got is a kid that transacted $600 on Venmo. No bail, maximum sentence. Next. Okay, second one we got is a guy that sold 2 grams of weed. No bail and maximum sentence as well. Next. All right, last one we got is this guy named Sam Bankman-Fried. He scammed like $50 billion of investors' money. Is this guy rich? Yeah. Is he white? Yeah. We gotta get this guy out of here ASAP. Gotta love the American court system. Another day of serving justice. All right, who do we have first?
Of course, guys, that was a parody. This is the real news here. Is Sam was released on $250 million of bail. Now, there is some confusion. People think, well, where did he get $250 million from? Guys, it's not how bail works. You don't put up the full amount. You put up collateral, and it's usually a percentage.
People are in the Stone Ages, bro. I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday, and it was like account after account after account. Like, you only had he said he only had $10,000 left in the bank, and how did he come up with $250 million for bail, or was $100,000 in the bank, whatever it was.
$100,000, yeah.
So he was on an interview saying, all I have left is $100,000. Actually, more than I have. But anyways,
all our money's in the
anyways. I just sit there. I'm like, y'all don't know how bail works. First of all, maybe it's because I hang out with the wrong crowds, but I've been down there to the, I've been to the bail bondsman. You know, if your bail is $10,000, you don't have to come up with $10,000. $1,000 will suffice.
Yeah.
You walk in with $1,000. You sign some paperwork. You say, "Yo, if you flee, I owe you the rest of that." Yeah. And anyways, like, come on now. So basically, if you were just to take the straight mathematics, and I'm sure it's a little different for the individual that has parking ticket violations and has a bench warrant and finally got arrested. Anyways, I'm sure those people are in different boxes as far as how much collateral you need to put up. But they did not put up $250 million. Like, stop it. They probably put in like 50 million or something of that nature as collateral. This is all just my speculation, but.
I believe it was 10%. So actually, you don't have
10% is 10 to 15% is generally the amount that you're supposed to for bail bondsmen. Now, you know, they use the equity. Did you hear about that?
Well, yeah, here actually, you don't have to
parents.
speculate.
Dead.
Here it is. Sam will be released, which he's already released. $250 million bail. So his parents put up their house as collateral. He is already out, but also. Two other individuals with considerable assets also came to the rescue of Sam. Who might those people be, you might ask? Who do you think those people will be, Robin? If we were to purely
Oh, man. Is Kevin O'Leary on the table?
100%. You know who else I thought was on the table? Bill Ackman.
What about Hillary Clinton? Maxine Waters?
Guys, what do you think? We're speculating here, but who do you think? Was it Santa Claus? Who are the other two individuals that put up all that money, right? Guarantors. So, guys, is he a flight risk? Obviously, the court system doesn't think so. Is he a threat to the community? Court system doesn't think so. Someone brought up on a podcast yesterday that Sam can still trade crypto if he wants to. He's going to be living with his parents in Palo Alto. And he's just gonna...
Do you think he's going to trade crypto? I'm just curious.
Probably. Seriously.
You think so?
Would you? Wouldn't you?
Do you think he's going to borrow crypto from his parents? Like,
I don't know, man.
Like, do you think he's going to be like, "Hey, Mom, can I borrow 5 Ethereum? I'm trying to put it in a long position."
I'm trying to take Binance down. Ah, man.
I got some inside information.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, it's funny that, you know, they always say that, you know, you go back and visit a fam on holidays, right? So he's going to be cuddled up with a glass of hot cocoa at the parents' house, singing Christmas carols and opening presents. What do you think SBF's got? What do you think his parents got SBF?
He's definitely getting coal, man. He's getting coal from Santa. I don't care what you say.
Dude, did you see what this dude looked like when he got out of prison?
Yeah, scruffy and hair still. Well, you look for that picture.
I'm telling you, man, it's like I feel like dude has like he already got some prison time, man. You know what I mean?
He's hard.
You know, like when you come out of prison, like you're like look at this man.
He's a changed man.
Tell me. He does not look like the guy that was wandering around with that Corolla. You know what I mean? Where he's kind of like flabbing out of shape and, you know, like all disoriented. He literally looks like he's in the drug cartel.
You ever
right?
seen that movie Get Hard with Will Smith or Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart?
Mm-hmm.
Where they prep him for jail?
You think he's prepping? You think he's been taking?
Bro, he's a different person, man. He's got street cred now. He's got street cred.
You think he's got some new fresh tattoos?
Probably. You know who else has street cred? You know who else has street cred? Our man Forrest. Kyler, let's bring him in. Forrest.
What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Good.
Where's your Christmas hat, bro?
Oh, I didn't get the memo. I
I didn't either. I just... If we can get you one in the next 5 minutes, we would, but we unfortunately can't. Now, Forrest, guys, first and foremost, if you're not familiar with this man, this is Forrest, former head of research at Token Metrics, founder of Crypto Stackers Pro. Just an absolute trading machine. Forrest gives some of the best insights in the industry, in my personal opinion. So if you've never met him before, please go subscribe to his channel. Go follow him on Twitter at 0xstacker. Now, we covered $250 million bond, but I want to continue because there's another article I want to highlight, which was kind of interesting, very interesting, and I want your guys' opinion. So let's just get it. FTX started paying bankruptcy lawyers months before filing for said bankruptcy. FTX locked in its bankruptcy attorneys with a $12 million retainer before it filed for Chapter 11. It made its first payment to the firm almost 3 months prior to officially filing on November 11th. The first payment of $23.88 million was made after its retainer was paid on August 26th. For its hourly legal fees, one of the law firms is charging $1,575 to $2,165 an hour for their partners and special counsel, $800 to $1,400 an hour for their associates, and $400 to $600 per hour for their legal assistants. Their legal assistants are making $600 an hour. FTX has also recruited firm Quinn Emanuel for a maximum hourly fee of another $2,000 an hour. And then another attorney also was retained for $300,000 prior to the Chapter 11 filing. And finally, last but not least, John Ray, the new CEO, he's charging $1,300 an hour. Is it interesting? Well, first and foremost, I'll start with Forrest. Are you surprised they let a bail amount was set right away and Sam is walking free?
I believe Bernie Madoff also got bail as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it was like the max at 250 million, and my understanding is it seems surprising at first glance, like why is this guy out on bail? But it was like a super high bail, and apparently like they don't actually have to front the cash for that. Though yeah. I don't have an understanding of how it works at like that high of a level, but how it normally works,
become a guarantor.
They put up their Palo Alto house as collateral, and if someone put up 250 million cash, and if he runs and skips bail, then they're out 250 million cash, but they get the house. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not a $250 million house, but they're probably making a decent chunk of change off of fronting his bail. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It's unfortunate, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily super unexpected on my end.
We knew it was going to happen as soon as he's like, "Yep, I'll get extradited to the U.S." and there was talks already about them negotiating a bail amount. What are your thoughts on this article right here? Them paying close to $30 million in bankruptcy to bankruptcy lawyers 3 months before they officially filed.
It just seems like this whole thing was planned, man. Like they knew from the start. I'm more and more in support of the idea that this was a planned operation from the beginning to push legislation through in the United States. I know I'll throw on my Christmas tinfoil hat in a minute, but it's everything is leading me to believe that this has been planned out from the beginning. At minimum, the fraud was planned out, but I think it was a push for regulation to get a hold of and control over crypto in the United States. Every little, and this is just yet another piece of evidence to throw in the pile of evidence that supports that theory.
What are your thoughts, Robin? Paying bankruptcy lawyers 3 months before they file for bankruptcy?
Well, the thing was they were trying to dig themselves out of a hole during the bear market. They obviously made a lot of money. Whatever scheme they had where they were leveraging money from FTX customers and using it, they were turning a profit. And that quickly flipped when the Terra Luna thing happened and 3 Arrows went down, and then just the overall price of assets dropped, volume on the exchanges dropped. People started withdrawing their funds, which was withdrawing their liquidity to trade, essentially is what they were doing, and also to spend illegally. And so, the numbers in front of them were saying that, hey, we are teetering on bankruptcy. And, do I think they believe they're going to have an epic collapse in the way that they did? I don't think they did. I think they were just so arrogant that they were like, hey, we're stealing money, but we don't really call it stealing money. We're just kind of you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they understood the gravity of what they were doing.
You're out of your mind.
No, I think they knew. But what I'm saying is, like, I think they thought that realistically, they're like, hey, man, we're a little underwater. Let's get a bankruptcy lawyer. And then if everything goes bust, we can just file for bankruptcy and then just start over again. Like, I don't think they realized the implications of what would happen when it all unraveled. Put it that way. I think they knew what they were doing was fraud. They knew what they were doing was illegal. But I think they thought that they could just file for bankruptcy, wash away debt in that manner, and then start again. And I think that's what they were doing.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, anyone knows, you file for bankruptcy, you give your company to the court.
No, I mean,
every document,
in
everything
rational thinking,
up and down.
But then, why would you pay for the bankruptcy lawyers if that's what you thought? If you thought that, like, hey, we're all going to go to jail and we're all going to go under, and like, why would you even spend the money on a bankruptcy lawyer? Like, if you're going to go to jail and you're going to face federal indictments, why even go through the hassle of hiring a restructuring and bankruptcy firm? You know what I mean? Like, so I think they were delusional. And the fact that they were like, hey, this ain't looking good. And if it goes under, let's just file for bankruptcy and then we'll be good. Like, I think that's what they were thinking. I think they were just so arrogant and delusional, and they were on top of the world. They thought they were so untouchable. Media's over here touting them as the next JP Morgan Chase and the next Vanderbilts. Like they're putting FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda Research on a pedestal. Even people in crypto industry were discussing Alameda Research as though it was the greatest thing ever. And obviously it wasn't. And I think that the guys were drinking their own Kool-Aid and they were like, let's get a bankruptcy lawyer and let's just hit the reset button and we can get a fresh balance sheet and start frauding more people, you know?
Speaking of balance sheets, I want to stay on FTX, but I want to move on to, and we'll get into the charts here in a second, guys. I want to get into this. The FTX asks the court to keep the $450 million worth of Robinhood shares frozen. It's a source from Forecast. They have asked the bankruptcy court to keep the Robinhood shares frozen as three parties battle for the true ownership of the assets, which in my opinion should be four parties. First party is BlockFi. Second is one of FTX's creditors, Jonathan Ben Shimon. And then the third one is Sam Bankman-Fried. Fourth one should be the users of FTX. They filed court actions in attempts to gain control of the shares. Now, if you were to put your bankruptcy judge hat on, who should have control? Should these be liquidated and paid back to the creditors?
There's also an interesting twist here with this as well. And it is that Caroline apparently leveraged the FTA, the Robinhood stocks as collateral for that loan they took out
To raise money?
Yeah, so they had borrowed money from BlockFi. Remember, BlockFi went bankrupt, and the collateral that they put up was the stocks for FTX. For Robinhood, excuse me. And here's the kicker though. It wasn't Alameda or Caroline's property. So she put up collateral that wasn't hers, apparently. And it actually is the ownership is with Sam Bankman-Fried. So now you're saying, but Sam Bankman-Fried was a 90% owner of Alameda, so more than likely, but he didn't sign. Anyway, so it's like this big mess when it comes to legalities on who owes what, who's going to get it. It's like little kids fighting over, the will, you know?
What are your thoughts, Forrest? What are your thoughts on this? Of course, none of us here are lawyers or bankruptcy judges or anything like that, but who should have it? Should it be liquidated? And what kind of effect could this have on Robinhood's stock price?
Well, what I would like to see is for the customers, like the retail customers, to be put first. And I don't know from a legal standpoint whose $450 million this is. And the sad part is, that's only a very small portion of the amount of money that's involved here.
Can we argue that it was customer funds, though, Forrest? Can we argue it was customer money? Because everything they were doing, every investment, every this and that was all used with customer money.
Right, exactly. So I would like to see this is a tangled web that I think is going to take a decade to untangle and to be sorted out who gets
A
what.
decade?
And I think it's at the end of the day, creditors, the retail customers are probably going to get 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 cents on the dollar in the best case scenario, if they're lucky. And that'll probably be 8 to 10 years from now. It's just a complete mess. I mean, the total lack of organization with money to begin with, but also just the complete fraud, I think, is just going to take forever. And then you're just going to have like we're already seeing, like, there's money on the table. There is $450 million on the table. There's 3 or 4 parties that are trying to claw it back, trying to claim that it's theirs, trying to get their money back. And at the end of the day, the average retail consumer, and I'm sure there's a class action, or will be a class action, or somebody to represent them, but they don't have as good a representation legally as Robinhood coming in, or BlockFi coming in. So I hope that it somehow ends up in the hands of customers, but I don't think that'll be for another 5 to 10 years best.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I think
10 years.
you can look at the track record of these high profile financial cases. It took Wells Fargo was like 10 years as well, from when they started the investigation, or started some of the charges. And the judicial system,
I mean, look at,
when it comes to criminal charges, it's a little different for civil, but when it comes to criminal charges, the judicial system,
especially at a federal
moves
level,
extremely slow. It'll probably be 2 to 3 years before there's even a court date. If Sam Bankman-Fried is allotted a court date, if he doesn't plead guilty to all the charges, if he does try to fight it, it would probably about 2-3 years. We'll probably be in the next bull market, maybe the next bear market by the time this court case even comes.
He's gonna trade it back before then, man. He's gonna make 10 bill from his parents' house in the next bull market and be like, "Hey guys, it's all good. We'll make everybody whole."
I told you I was gonna get customer funds back. Yeah, eventually.
Would you follow his trades right now? I mean, I think the dude's pretty. He's pretty good at leveraging. I'm just saying that, like, if you had insight into that man's PC, like, he's got a lot of inside information. He's learned how to. He's.
I heard he's going to start a Discord trading group too.
Yeah.
Buy my for $300 a month.
Big shout out to Big Chili Willie dropping a $9.99 super chat. Says Merry Christmas, and Merry
Christmas.
Also,
I believe Hanukkah's still going on, right? Hanukkah, and then there's Kwanzaa as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you celebrate any of those,
happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays. Yeah, right.
All I want for Christmas,
no one cares what you want
a
for
like
Christmas.
button.
Okay,
so
that I do.
If you could support the channel, we only have 50 likes. What the hell is going on, man? Can y'all give me a Christmas present? Can you give me a like button, please? Thank you.
All right. Forrest, there's one more topic outside of charts I want to cover, and I want to get your take on this because Rob and I have been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. It's Binance. And there's an article that I want to go over. So, well, let me preface by saying, you guys know what's been happening with Binance, right? They've been under fire. CZ's been going on this tour to thing, kind of like what Sam's been doing. He was asked, hey, if that 2.1 billion is asked to be clawed back, do you guys have the funds? He kind of swerved around the question. The proof of reserves audit, which was complete BS. Now that company is no longer doing audits anymore. He refuses to release liabilities. There's questions about the structure of their company, Binance.com, Binance US funds being commingled, yada, yada, yada. Well, they just published a blog post on their website, Binance. They said they have no debt and assets are segregated, says the report. But a couple of things I want to highlight. So in a blog post published on its website on Friday, Binance addressed the most prominent questions from community members over the last 2 weeks, and that is whether the exchange had enough funds to back all user deposits. The company explained that it does not mix user funds with company funds and went on to say, quote, "We have enough capital reserves to cover daily operations and get through any tough cycles." The crypto exchange further explained that it was not operating using debt. According to the post, Binance makes its profit from transaction fees as well as returns on investments made through its investment and acquisition arm, Binance Labs. Here's the first question I have. If a majority of your money is made through trading fees, you did zero fees on Bitcoin trading, And then right after FTX, not right after, you did 0 trading fees on Ethereum. So I don't know. Is it just me or some seem off a little bit here? We know Robin's take, right? And we'll get to him in a second. But what are your thoughts, Forrest? Is something off? Like I just get SBF vibes lately from CZ.
Yeah, so the way he's been kind of acting is a little bit suspect. I will absolutely admit that. I think at the end of the day, what he even if customer funds are everything's all good, the worst case scenario just for his business in general is like he's trying to, in my opinion, even if the Binance can handle a bank run, they don't want to be tested with a bank run, right? So it's in whether they can handle a bank run or not. CZ does not want a bank run on Binance's assets. They do not want everybody pulling their money out more so than what they've already had. That's really, really bad for business, really bad for the crypto space. Volumes drop and the amount of money they make. So the thing about like the free spot volume or whatever, they still make a ton of money on perpetuals. So like they do, probably, I don't know what their breakdown of revenue is, but I'd imagine it's way higher on the perpetual side. That's kind of where FTX was making their money as well. And Binance has probably absorbed a lot of that, FTX volume that dropped off once FTX went under. My honest, and I don't have any money on Binance right now. I would not be keeping any money on centralized exchanges right now, other than what you need if you're just like trading day to day and you want to continue, you feel comfortable with that. But keeping a minimal amount on centralized exchanges of any type, let alone Binance. My honest take, though, is I think Binance is a completely different beast than FTX. I don't think it's necessarily comparable. FTX was putting their logo on stadiums and sponsoring this and sponsoring that and sending money over to Alameda. They had Alameda acting as this arm, and then they were just funneling money through Alameda into all these different projects and manipulating. Like the amount of, the amount of money that was being splashed around and misappropriated within FTX, even on the surface, even like what we could see, like with all the advertisements and endorsements, like we didn't see any of that out of Binance in the bull market. Like CZ has been fairly calm and tight pocketed throughout the entire bull market. Like he's been through bull and bear market cycles in the past, and I think he knows how to prepare. Again, I'm not saying that they're 100%, everything's good. You can never know. You can't trust anybody in this space, but I genuinely think that they're going to be fine. I think that is the most likely scenario. I'd say like 95% they're going to be fine. 5% something's up and something goes down. Even if they have done some shady stuff, I find it really hard to believe that people wouldn't step up. Like as long as, like the other thing is like FTX had like a $10 billion hole. That is like a ridiculous amount of money, and they were essentially like they had no money. All their money was just poof gone. With Binance, if they had done something shady or they just had a $1 billion hole or a $500 million hole, there's people and companies and entities that would step in to fill that hole. Like we saw almost happen with FTX. Like Binance was actually going to potentially acquire FTX or step in and fill that hole, but it just so happened that the hole was so large that nobody wanted to touch it, and there was just fraud everywhere. So even if there was some sort of some issues, you also have to take into account like FTT versus BNB. Those are two very different things, right? A lot of FTX's problem was through the FTT token being used as collateral, and I believe there's some of that going on with BNB. But BNB is also like a layer 1 smart contract network token that has all of these decentralized applications on top of it. I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer like Ethereum and some other layer 1s and layer 2s. But Binance Smart Chain, it's like an actual smart contract network. There's dApps on it. It pulls in revenue. So it's a little bit different than comparing directly to FTX and FTT's token or the FTT token.
What are your thoughts, Robin? Do you believe that he says they're not operating on debt, or they don't have debt out there, and majority of their by the way, Forrest, I try to look this up, and I don't know, I don't think Robin knows either, but is Binance also a market maker? I know like Coinbase is not a market maker, right? They outsource that. Do you know if Binance is a market maker on their own platform?
It doesn't surprise me.
I'm asking, do you know? if they are?
Oh, if they are?
Off the top of your head. I try to find the info. I didn't have too
No,
much time to look deep into it, but
I would imagine they are, unless that breaks some sort of rule I'm unaware of. But yeah, I would think so.
I only ask because obviously that would be another source of money for them essentially. But Rob,
What's up?
so what are your thoughts? The question I asked.
So when it comes to Binance being kind of in the same boat as FTX, I think
just with this new thing, right? And they're not operating on debt. They make their trading fees.
They're always going to say that. What company, and at least here we're keeping our crypto space, but I mean you can kind of blanket that across just business in general. What operating business is out here saying, "Hey, we're underwater. Everything's about to go under. We're about to file bankruptcy. We don't have enough funds on hand." Who publicly announces that while they're open for business, right? Especially when your business requires people to store money, to use your platform by depositing cash. And when there's fear, you withdraw cash. So your business model kind of falls apart when you take out your cash. So, like Forrest said with the bank run, obviously, not your keys, not your crypto, it's not really an incentive for a crypto exchange to operate correctly by custodying everybody's crypto. They don't want to custody everybody's crypto, but they do want you to have crypto on their platform to trade and buy. And if you're just parking it there and you're not doing anything and say it's there for 2 years, and you're not rehypothecating it, it is a liability that you have to take care of. You have to secure somebody else's crypto. But realistically, what's actually happening is people are putting crypto on an exchange. They're buying and selling. They're day trading. They're getting in and out of positions. They're acquiring trading fees. They're doing margin and leverage trading. There's tons of all of that goes away if you have no exposure to the exchange. And so, is there manipulation on these numbers? Yeah, of course. Like I said, man, they're not gonna advertise, hey, we have a debt, we have a hole that we need to fill, but it's okay, because of X, Y, and Z.
I think people are just freaking out. They want to see the numbers, they want to see the documents, right? But you got to remember, Binance is a private company. They haven't raised any money in years. There's no financials floating out there.
There's such a large company. There's no way you're going to ever get the full transparency. There's just
they don't have to.
No, I'm not even saying you have to. But like if you're going to take at face value what they say as the gospel and be like, yo, they're solvent. They don't have any issues. They said it themselves. Here's an audit report. Like it's all falls by the wayside because, they have so many different subsidiaries or different exchanges around the world, so many different wallets, cold storage. Like you never know, man. There's no way of knowing unless you have a third party auditor that is trusted inside of the company that has no affiliation and can't be bought out. And I don't even know if that's even possible, realistically.
HPL brought up a point. He said, FTX was in the hole from the start. Binance built their foundation with time and real energy. All right. I want to show a quick video. This is pretty cool. I know I'm a huge fan of Polygon. Robin is, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Forrest also likes Polygon. Forrest, can you confirm that you like Polygon?
Oh, confirm. Yeah. S-tier cryptocurrency.
Amazing. Okay. So they did a little year in review video. Pretty cool. As soon as we're done, we're going to send it to Forrest. He's going to get into charts. And maybe he'll show us a Matic chart as well. So if you haven't already, hit the like button. And let's get started. All right. So here's the video. This is from Polygon's actual website. Or sorry, Twitter. There's no audio on this, but it's pretty cool. Here we go. So this is kind of their year in review here.
Oh, okay.
All their biggest partnerships and
friggin' Disney, huge.
Meta.
I forgot they partnered with Meta.
Yeah, dude.
And then
they got integrated. Reddit.
Reddit.
Forrest said they're an S tier cryptocurrency.
Yeah, man. It's just going back, man, the projects you want to identify in the bear market are the ones that are building and making partnerships. And this is literally textbook example of partnerships.
And guys, this is all happening through a bear market. That's why whenever you watch our show, we don't care if Bitcoin's at 5,000, 10,000. We always tell you what's happening, who's building, where are the resources flowing to, where's the IQ going, right? The all the smart people, the most talented developers, the people that are coming out of college, where are they choosing to go and build their careers? And a lot of them are going to blockchain. So
you think they're going to keep the same steam, the same pace, same amount of, like,
I don't know why
growth next year?
I don't know why they wouldn't. But what do you think, Forrest?
I think it accelerates. It's Metcalfe's law. Like every time you add somebody to a network, it becomes more valuable. Okay, they just added Reddit to their network. Reddit has so many users. Reddit is, obviously a large social media network that gives them social proof and validates them as a blockchain use case. So it's like a lot of people don't have, like a lot of institutions, companies, individuals, they don't have the time or resources to go and look at the transactions per second between Algorand and Near Protocol and Polygon. But what they can do is they can say, okay, well, of those three, or name it, insert any chain there. Reddit uses Polygon. Oh, Disney uses Polygon. Oh, Starbucks uses Polygon. Okay, well, if it's good enough for all of them, it's probably good enough for me. There's probably a reason that they chose Polygon. So, I don't know. It replaces or makes due diligence significantly easier for incoming, potential partnerships. So I think they accelerate.
There's a saying, social acceptance or social bias or something like that, where your peers are doing it, and so you're like, oh, I got to jump on and do it too. I don't know what the word is, but guys, chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a fan of Polygon. Put a 2 in the chat if you are not a fan of Polygon. 1, you like Polygon. 2, something's wrong with you. All right, Forrest, let's get into the charts. And if maybe we could start with Polygon. Is it in a good buy zone? What are your thoughts on the price action? And then, of course, anything else you have ready for us today?
I also want to say I put in a big buy on Cardano yesterday. That's
another one.
I've been sleeping on my acquisition of Cardano. I thought 25 cents was pretty good. Let me know if I put in a good
because it shows all about what Robin. Do you remember when Ethereum? He's like every week for us. You'd be like, "Hey, so Forrest, man, I got like $2,000. Should I put it in now?" All right.
Yeah, so we can take a look at Matic real quick. All right. So obviously it repriced the upside in the bull market, and it has actually held on to a large portion of those gains. Let me actually, let's just zoom out for a moment. And yes, this chart looks a little bit depressing at first glance because we popped up and then we came back down and slammed down pretty hard. But if you actually look at this and compared to a lot of charts, and I'll pick on Solana for example. Solana's come all the way back down, right? Is not held this range, whereas Polygon is holding a range considerably higher than that. I'm a Solana fan. Don't get me wrong. I actually think it bounces back next market cycle to some degree, but Matic here will throw on the easy bands. It's held on to a lot of its gains that it saw in the bull market. And it's just sitting here trending sideways. We're on the weekly here, trending sideways on our 21-week simple moving average. I'll move into the daily here. Our purple level there, that's the 21-week simple moving average. That's quote unquote fair value for a long-term investing mindset and long-term investing standpoint. I don't like to buy at or around the 21-week simple moving average. I think that's the minimum. That is like the minimum level it needs to be at for you to take a long-term position in something. That's means that it's compared to where it's been at valued for the last 21 weeks or so. It's at or around that average, right? When it pops up here, it's overvalued, right? There's hype in the market. It's a little bit frothy. Maybe it's just starting up a trend, but from a long-term perspective, you're always going to be better off buying at or below the 21-week simple moving average. I like to personally look for opportunities to buy in large capitulations here, where we actually dropped. This was an unprecedented drop in crypto. where a lot of altcoins fell deep below their green easy band levels. But obviously a great opportunity to pick up some Polygon at very, very cheap levels coming out of the last bull market. I have my accumulation level that I'm looking to buy Polygon at is 65 cents. So I don't know if I'll get it. And I can live with it if I don't. One thing that I do want to mention is that Polygon has a high correlation coefficient with Ethereum. So if you have heavy Ethereum bags, right, and you just feel like you have to get into Polygon, and that's going to make you, that's going to make you buy it at an overvalued price, I would say, you're fine. You're already correlated with Ethereum. Could Polygon have, could it rip further to the downside in crashes and further to the upside in a big bull market? Yes, certainly. But if you have ETH in your portfolio in the short term, there's really no need to increase your exposure more than likely with another highly correlated asset to Ethereum. You can actually be patient knowing that you do have exposure to ETH, and that if Matic starts ripping or Ethereum starts ripping, they'll probably both rip together. And if they crash, they'll both probably crash together. And you'll be able to pick it up at a much lower level. So just for anybody who's just like, oh, I got to get some Matic, but it's kind of expensive right now in comparison to where we'd ideally like to pick some up. Like I said, my accumulation level is around 65 cents. If we pull in our margin pressure levels, which is just going to tell us where the shorts are going to get exhausted if this really starts spilling down. The shorts are going to get exhausted at around 65 cents near that prior resistance, and down towards our green easy band level. So anywhere between 43 and really honestly 70, I think, is a decent accumulation for Matic. Happy to go over any other charts. Any charts in particular we want to take a look at? We want to look at the legacy markets. Been fireworks recently.
Let's do legacy. Let's do Bitcoin.
And Cardano.
No, don't do Cardano. No one cares.
Yeah, we can do Cardano in a moment. Let's steer over to legacy.
Yeah, there's. I've noticed. Was it the S&P 500? It has some big swings this week. I know yesterday it was up like 3.5%. Today it's down, and then started the week down. I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah. It's been a wild week. We had a big wick down here on the daily. Really yesterday, we recovered a lot of that, and we're recovering more of that today. So I do briefly, before we get into the S&P 500, I want to show you guys. This is such an important chart to keep track of different cryptocurrencies' performances. So these are dominance charts. These are showing us basically the market share of a given cryptocurrency in relation to the rest of the crypto market. So, people talk about Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance, but you'll very rarely hear about anybody talking about Polygon dominance. And this is, this isolates for how is this holding up against the crypto market, because we know the crypto market is super correlated. So can Polygon, or has Polygon, which is in purple here, has it been outperforming the rest of the market? And the answer is yes, pretty much forever. Like there were brief periods of time where it kind of was underperforming the rest of the market. But in both the bull market and so far in this bear market, we've seen it increase its dominance. This is Chainlink's in a nice little decent uptrend and a pullback off of that uptrend. We'll see how that holds up. One that I've got my eye on that is very interesting here, all the way since the beginning of the year. And remember, this is when the bear market started. The bear market started basically, the top was in November, but the top of the S&P 500 was in January. Monero, privacy coin, sitting up here just in a really relentless uptrend, and that's the one that I've not had my eye on up until recently. But looking at this dominance chart, it's got me very, very interested, because a lot of times these longer term steady trends can eventually explode into a larger move. But we'll go over to the S&P 500 here, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, I would recommend doing so.
Yes.
But not trying to show my Twitter or anything, but I put out some stuff, some analysis, and I put out some analysis, and we talked about this on the live stream all the way back last weekend, and this is something I put. We had a really nasty spill off, if you'll remember, a nasty spill off at the beginning of the week. This was on December 16th. It's now December 23rd. So this was actually last Friday, I believe. Last Friday. We were really nasty spill off, but we were able to look at this chart and say, hey, on the daily here, like this has to spill so far down for us to not put in bullish divergence. Like this would have to just continue all the way down below this previous support level and continue. I mean, that would be just, crashes of that size have happened in the past, right? We saw one over here, a really nasty leg right here, and we saw one over here, but they're very infrequent. So it makes more sense to me to bet on what's more likely to happen, and we were actually able to kind of predict that this bullish divergence would print, and now that's right where we're sitting. We had a really nasty day in the market yesterday. At one point, we were down from the previous day's highs, I believe, around 3%, which in the S&P 500 that's massive. So a really gross day yesterday, but then the buyers came in, and we're seeing like a nice wick forming here. And if you just go and look at any of the daily bottoms on the S&P 500, most of them are accompanied by like these nice strong wicks, and you get a nice bounce from here. So my expectation, and this is really kind of weird timing because we're going into Christmas and going into the weekend, but I do think that we could get a little bit of a decent, I guess it wouldn't be a Santa rally by next week, but a decent little bounce here. And I think it's setting up crypto to do okay here. Yesterday, we saw a 3% drop in the S&P 500 at one point, and crypto actually held up fairly decently. If you look at ETH here, normally a 3% crash in the S&P 500, you would expect something way worse in a more sensitive crypto market. But we had about a 4.5% drawdown in Ethereum, and all of that's been recovered at this point. And we're sitting at 1220. So surprisingly, and again, I'm not trying to paint a super bullish picture here, but it's surprisingly decent performance here out of crypto amidst the large drawdown in the S&P 500. I two charts that are really interesting to me in the legacy, and then we'll jump into Cardano. This is the highs minus the lows for actually three. Let me just pull up real quick the Dow Jones Industrial Average, because the Dow Jones Industrial Average does not even look like it's in a bear market. And it's already bounced back 20+%, or 15% from the lows, and at one point it was 20%. And this to me looks like a classic, bull market pullback, bump and run. We're moving back higher. Is that what's going to happen? Not necessarily, but the Dow Jones Industrial Average, Dow Jones looks so much better than the S&P 500 right now. It has broken through its downtrend line. It is holding it as support. Maybe it just skates down it and we get some bleed off. Maybe it completely loses it and invalidates it and we move back down. But it's sitting in a much better position than the S&P 500 is right now, which I find very interesting. And I think that's just because Dow doesn't have nearly as many tech stocks, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. The two charts that I want to briefly touch on, guys, this is the 10-year minus the 2-year, also known as the yield curve. Whenever the yield curve inverts, it predicts an upcoming recession, right? It predicts an upcoming recession. And that's what everyone's been freaking out and why everybody's predicting a recession, including me, in 2023. I expect a recession in 2023. I think this is it's going to be a rough year. I'm not convinced we're going to get a soft landing. I think it's potentially still on the table, but very unlikely. And we've not seen the yield curve come down this far, I believe, either ever or for a very long time. I think we got to go back to like the potentially the 60s to see data where the yield curve inverts this high. So this is just the bond market freaking out. And what's interesting here is everybody says, the yield curve inverting leads to a recession, but they and they look at the bottoms, like how long until the bottom is in after the yield curve inverts. And, it could be years, it could be 12 months, it could be 2 years. And everyone's saying, we're just getting started here. But I would say, also look at where the yield curve actually finds a bottom and starts moving back upwards. And how does that relate to the actual top in the market? So over here, when the yield curve inverted, the top was not in yet before the crash. Over here, we bottomed in the yield curve, right? And the top happened in congruence. Over here, we put in the bottom of the yield curve, and the top in the S&P 500 was not in for like another 266 days. Over here, we bottomed in the yield curve, a slight inversion, and we continued to rally upwards until we got hit with COVID. So this analysis, and again, this time could be different, but this analysis would actually, is say like, hey, we've just now recently put in a bottom where we look like we're heading back up in the yield curve. This could be the bottom, or we could continue going down. Historically, we've seen the top come after or in congruence with the simultaneously with the yield curve bottoming out. So there's a case, and again, I hesitate to paint a bullish picture because I do expect recession next year in 2023, and we're a week away from next year. But there's a decent, in my opinion, chance that we get a rally and then we get a worse crash, and that wouldn't be too out of what we've seen previously, where you kind of get a rally and then a crash. So that's a really interesting chart to me, as well as this one that I've pulled up.
It kind of lines up with Peter Schiff was on record earlier this week saying that he was expecting a devastating recession coming up next year in 2023. And so you think recession is on the table? Because I know it's two different camps as far as bullish second half of 2023, or maybe this is just the beginning of a deep recession that lasts another year.
There's definitely a recession. We've already been in a recession.
Yeah, I think recession's likely. I mean, Stanley Druckenmiller, who's of particular note on this topic, is his base case. He thinks we're going to get a lost decade, and I actually don't. I don't disagree with that. So not to make anybody super depressed here.
Isn't he the guy that's had he's never had a losing year in terms of returns for the last 30 years? He's always beat.
He's never had a what year?
A negative year as far as returns in the market. I think that's
something like that. I mean, he's like a super legendary hedge fund advisor, super high performance. Yeah. I do want to just, again, I'm not a big fan of fractal analysis, but this was kind of the lost decade in the late 60s, early 70s. And then we kind of had a more volatile lost decade after the dot-com bubble. It took us 13 years to recover those highs. Yeah. But I think everybody, this scenario, I think a lot of people have recency bias, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to get something like this. The last two recessions looked like this. COVID low looked like this. Oh, it's just going to be so easy. It's just going to be we get our money out. We wait for a capitulation. We get our money back in, and then we just continue to go up like nothing happened. I don't necessarily subscribe to that belief. I think things are really the world is changing in a lot of big ways. We're getting deglobalization. We're getting geopolitical tensions. The U.S. dollar. I mean, we've got countries that are wanting to get off of the U.S. dollar and potentially banding together to move to either a different currency, whether that's a Chinese yuan or commodities-backed trade. Has been floated a couple times by multiple analysts and multiple political leaders. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got something like this, where it was just plenty of opportunities to make some money on these up times and plenty of opportunities to short the market, but potentially large volatility. And again, this isn't what I'm saying is going to happen. I'm just using this as an example of hey, we could get some really strange times ahead that is going to take a lot of patience to make money in the market. But we'll have to be very opportunistic here. It's not as easy as just buying the capitulation and just letting it run. For the next 10 years, I think we could get a more volatile type situation or choppy situation. Cool. So Cardano. Let's throw on the easy bands. Can I get? Oh, that's the monthly. Okay, that's fine. Let's zoom all the way into the weekly. Look, Cardano to me, Cardano is a bull market coin. And I'll show over here on we'll go to Cardano, dominance, coin market cap. We'll go to merge all scales onto one on the right. And then we'll start getting rid of basically everything else. Bitcoin and Ethereum can stay. Cardano. There we go. So this is Cardano's dominance. And we see that, and actually, if we've got the time to do it, it's just better to throw on Bitcoin USD coin market cap, right? That gives us a Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum dominance. There we go. This allows us to easily see our bull markets and our bear markets, right? So Bitcoin bull market, Cardano does extraordinarily well. Nothing outperforms it, really. Like Cardano's up here at the top. This is Bitcoin price, Cardano dominance. Cardano just absolutely crushes everything. This is not only this is Cardano's dominance. This means like how it's performing against the rest of the market. So not only is like the entire market going up, Cardano's going up against the entire rest of the market in a bull market. In a bear market, the opposite is true, unfortunately. Cardano is a really unattractive bear market holding, but as soon as the bull market comes back around, Cardano I expect to perform really well, and I think that's because there's a lot of retail participation in Cardano, a lot of talk about it on YouTube. It's also I think the percentage of the amount of Cardano that's being traded is heavily traded and held by retail investors as opposed to like VCs that are potentially, maybe manipulating or accumulating along certain levels. But to me, this is like the play for Cardano is March 2024 is the next Bitcoin halving. If we play the Bitcoin cycles and we think there's going to be another bull market, like 6 to 9 months before Bitcoin, the Bitcoin halving, that to me is accumulation time for Cardano. So if we look at May of 2020, that was the last Bitcoin halving. Yeah, so like this 6 to 9 months prior, that's really where I want to be accumulating Cardano. And we're not quite there yet. I mean, I don't think there's any harm in accumulating Cardano when it's this far down. But come June of 2023, like 6 months from now, that's where my Cardano DCA starts to begin, because nothing out. It crushes everything. It did like 100x this market cycle, right? Like 100 over 100x was 180x off the bottom.
They went
am I getting
from
that number from?
5 cents to $3. 30x.
I got it all the way down at like 1.7 cents at the bottom.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah, it did go to 1 cent. Yeah. So
yeah, on the capitulation.
So
that's like best case scenario.
So I mean, if you would have had absolutely perfect timing, you could have 300x'd, I guess.
Yeah. So if you accumulated in the 6 months prior to the halving here, going back, in this range, maybe a little bit before then, 6 to 9 months before, you're getting in at 3 to 4 cents, and this thing just ripped up the 3. You're getting 100x on a large cap cryptocurrency, right? Cardano is not like one of these like high risk, low cap cryptocurrencies that may not pop off again. I think it will pop off again. And I think, this is a bull market coin. So, for me personally, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're like 3-6 months away, and then it's time for me to start, accumulating.
Ooh, 3 to 6 months away. Okay. I think that's all we have for the charts. We did a poll. What's your favorite holiday? Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and April Fools. Before I show the results of the poll, Forrest, what is your favorite holiday out of those 4? Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, or April Fool's Day?
Definitely not Halloween or April Fools. I'd say Christmas or Thanksgiving. Probably Christmas.
Christmas? What about you, Robin? We know you like Thanksgiving.
Sad memories of not being able to eat for Thanksgiving for wrestling.
So 57%. Thank you, wrestling. 57% is for Christmas, 18% Halloween, Thanksgiving 13%, and April Fool's 10%. I'm a big Christmas guy.
There's actually in the spirit of Christmas, we do have a good and a naughty list. And so we also have the other list, which is our new viewer list. So just to give a little shout out to some of our new viewers here, Andoni, Rick, Beachhead, Hassan, Pete, K. We got GMH, the Beast, Mendez. For some reason, I thought I said give me a Mercedes. I don't know what my anyways. We got Loach, Junior Giles, Crypto Hands, Kevin Cortez, and also Kev83. We got double Kevs in here. Mirth, Seek and Hunt, Brit abroad in the Philippines, and Logan. To all of you, Merry Christmas and hola! Welcome to City Crypto.
Wow. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Crypto Stackers Pro, do yourselves a favor. If you enjoyed the easy bands, the indicators, those are all Forrest created those himself. And if you want to support this channel and you want to support Forrest, there is an affiliate link in the description of this video. It also gives you access to the Discord as well, Forrest Discord. And go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter at 0xstacker. He joins us every single Friday. Forrest, as always, my friend, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your weekend. And
Enjoy your Christmas.
Hopefully you don't get coal under the Christmas tree.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Take care,
Thanks
brother.
for having me
Thank
on.
you. All right.
It's almost that time, man. It's almost that Christmas season. The end of the year. Yeah, man. Just
The weather outside is frightful, and the finger tornado was delightful. Friends, family, guys, no friends, family stuff today. Seriously, enjoy the weekend with the family, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or any other holiday. Family time. Enjoy yourself. Pick up some Sin City merch. Follow us on social media.
thank you, Lucky's Thoughts. 99 cent super chat.
99 cents, the super chat.
And then we also got our